Thank you for watching and listening. I want to talk about my experiences in secondary school. I was heavily bullied because apparently I talk a lot, and when I don't talk, they ask me why I didn't talk. So initially, when I was befriending the Chinese girl, I wasn't the type to talk a lot because I was still stuck in the primary school mindset. We're just playing around, but I didn't know that the girls there were your stereotypical "I want a boyfriend, I want attention" types. And like I said, initially I was friends with the Chinese girls and they were nice people. But I was being gaslit and bullied by the three Malay girls. You know, one of them who tried to get me to drown myself and who turned out to be bullies and allegedly part of the cult. So after mixing with that Malay girl, because they kept pushing them, so I kept pressuring, they call me sombong, kau ingat kau Cina ke apa, kau malu nak jadi Melayu, things like that. You're arrogant, you're ashamed to be Malay, you try to be Chinese, is it? Because you be friends with Chinese people, things like that. The three sentences, so I was unfortunately passive and easily gaslit. So over time, the harassment lower me, allow them to come closer and eventually became friends. And of course it was horrible. They were mentally abusive. They were gaslighting me, bullying me a lot. I didn't realize I was being bullied because they cook for you, they bring ask you to go to their house and things like that. But they were stereotypical fake mean girls. Okay. And anyhow, mixing with them, that's the reason why you need to be careful with who you hang around with. Okay. To the society, to the teachers, these girls are nice, feminine, students from good class, don't smoke, don't drink, religious girls. But they are totally opposite. One of them was the one who came up with a famous line, "It's halal kiss." Kissing is not halal if it's not your husband, okay? You claim to go to religious classes, and she's the one who claimed to read the holy book in skirts. So the behavior in hindsight, it was a kind of an indicator, right? So mixing with them, unfortunately, because they're low vibrational, right? So they attract more low vibrational things. So I was somewhat pressured to join the drama club, and I took up a role as a grandmother, and I got harassed by the Malay, bullied by the Malay community. They kept calling me Mak Nini, Mak Nini, Mak Beda, and things like that. The Malay boys especially were very, very nasty. And it's a thing. I know I'm not the only one who go through this. People sometimes from your own race, they tend to bully you. They tend to be even nastier to you for some reason. And the funny thing is, some of them came to me to ask for help, and then you turn around and call me names. Anyway, so that the lesson learned was to stay away from people if your intuition tell you not to. My intuition told me not to mix with them. Unfortunately, I didn't listen. So that's what happened. I was heavily bullied by the Malay people, Malay community, to a point that when I moved on from Polytechnic, I refused to speak Malay. Even until adulthood, it took me many years before I even bothered to mix with Malay. If I see Malay people, I would just stay away, and I would lie and say, "Oh, I'm Chinese," things like that. So because I can't stand the passive aggressive bullying, the name calling, and things like that, the gaslighting, things like that. Yeah. So anyway, there was this incident in school. I was friend with another girl in secondary 3, and she was the popular Malay girl. She was nice. Anyway, there's this teacher called Mr. Eddie. He's the substitute teacher. Okay. And so the assembly hall is on the second floor, and some kids, out of rebellion, they decided not to be there, not to gather there after recess, and decided to go straight to class. So from the assembly block, the hall where the assembly block, the block where the assembly hall was at, you can walk straight down the path to other blocks, back to your classes apparently. So and when you walk, you can see people from the other end, and the other end can look at you. So this Mr. Eddie, he was leaning on the railing. He kept staring at this girl from the moment from far all the way up to the point where we were right beside him, because that's where the staircase to go down was at. And he turned around, looked her up and down. And then my being blunt self, I say, why is he looking at you like that? Why he's staring at you like that? Even as I was saying is, he did not take his eyes off her. He was still checking her out, looking her up and down. And then her, being a stereotypical conservative girl, she turned around and gaslit me instead. And she said, keep quiet lah, diam lah kau mulut, jangan cakap macam ni lah, diam kau. Just keep quiet, don't try to shame me, things like that. So deep down, your intuition says that is an inappropriate behavior for a substitute teacher. Okay, yeah, sure, she was 15. He was maybe what, maybe 5, 6 years older. But still, you shouldn't be looking at her from far all the way. You can see people staring at you, right? He followed her all the way right up to the point where we had to turn the corner and where he was standing at, because the staircase was right behind him. He turned his body around to look her up and down like that. The eyes never left her. And we went down the stairs. I decided to be quiet because I constantly got gaslit, because this is what they do. They would gaslit you to a point that over time we learn to keep quiet. And we witnessed a lot of inappropriate behavior. We just keep quiet. Because we were told, you're busybody, you shame people, you like to dirty people, you air out people's dirty laundry, things like that. So they manipulate it to a point where you learn not to speak up. And hence, bullying continue, harassment continue, things like that. Because we just become bystanders. So, sometime later, many days later, I had an art class, and this guy, this Mr. Eddie, was the substitute for that. So I was painting. This is just a big A3 paper, right? So instead of painting 1 or 2 shades, I can paint as many shades as I want to. Then he used that as an excuse. I was minding my own business. He came out to me and said, he started yelling, screaming at the top of his lung, and pointed out to the door, "You get out if you never listen to me." I was minding my own business. And at the same time, he was like, because he knew he could have gotten into trouble if I had reported him. If I wasn't gaslit into keeping quiet. No, I get some girls are beautiful, but she's 15. You're an adult. Why are you checking a 15-year-old? Why are you checking out a 15-year-old? And on top of that, you decided to in a way, harass me. To take your anger out on me, so to intimidate me into being silent. Even though I did nothing, I was just sitting down there painting. People show you. People who show you who they are. And it's a culture over here. There's a lot of things that happen. And another case, because I mixed with that 3 horrible, fake, nasty Malay girls. Okay. There was this time religious, let's go to Sunday religious class, Saturday religious class. But in hindsight, that one girl was going to Pasir Ris Chalet with her boyfriend. Another one was making out in the lift. Another one was with the halal kiss at the staircase, heavy petting and things like that, hugging, touching and things like that. And you claim to be religious and you turn around and try to make people feel bad. So they kept saying I have nasty mouth and things like that. But meanwhile, they were the one, especially one of them, she was obsessed with penis, obsessed with strawberry condoms, and I'm the nasty-mouthed one. I may be blunt, but you guys are 10 times worse. You're passive-aggressive, the things you say, how you mentally abuse people, emotionally abuse people, and get away with it for so long. So there was this one time, because follow them, they're supposed to be religious girls, and to a youth religious class. So when the religious class was over, and again, the way of teaching religious class then is more to shaming, right? I check one by one, I see who don't know how to pray properly, things like that. So it kind of push you away from everything. A lot of shaming, a lot of humiliating, because that's not how you teach religion, by the way. So the mosque was at, it's Masjid An-Nur. It's at Marsiling, nearest to Singapore Johor Customs. So behind the mosque, there's a big patch of land. So you can walk from there to Marsiling MRT. It's about 20 minutes walk. So while we were walking there, I think it might be a Saturday. I don't know, Saturday or Sunday. We were on the opposite street. Okay. So the girl was in a blue school uniform in one of the schools nearby there. And we saw a police car. A police car slowed down and rolled down the window and was asking the girl for her phone number and kept following her. and we were across the street. The street wasn't big, so you can hear the conversation. And I was telling the girls, shouldn't we help you? The police is like asking her for her phone number. Like basically the police wanted to get to know her. Okay? A girl in school uniform, secondary school uniform. And I thought deep down, we should do something, we should help. But I was surrounded by these gaslighters. They turned around and said that you're capo, you're busybody, ignore, you put your nose in people's business, things like that. Unfortunately, I wasn't wrong. Turned out I was correct. We should call them out. They shouldn't. Policemen, adult men, shouldn't be harassing and catcalling a student. She might be 17 years old. I don't know. Maybe she repeated. Maybe she's 18. I don't know. But still, she might not even be of legal age. Policeman in the police car slowed down the car to follow her walking pace, and we can hear him. There's a slang people use to ask for your details, like your age, your weight, your height, your birth date, and your phone number. What is it called? Is it a hash button or something like that? There's a slang they call it in the 2000s in Singapore. My biggest regret was that I was gaslit most of the time into keeping quiet, into believing that I was being busybody. So over time, we just keep quiet and watch all these things that it's not correct happening, and that the karma in that comes with us going through things and people not helping, because that toxic culture of keeping quiet or buat bodoh, ignore, being passive, and allowing all these passive aggressive people, toxic people, gaslighters, mentally emotionally abusive people to change us. Okay. And so don't raise your children to be abusive. At the same time, don't raise them to be passive. And understand that you need to mirror people's energy. If you can be diplomatic, be diplomatic. If you can diffuse the situation, diffuse the situation. But if not, whatever they do to you, you do it to them twice. Because people, all these bullies, all these nasty people, low vibrational people, the reason why they target you is because they know there won't be any consequences, because they know what they do to you won't be done to them. That's why all the stepmother got away with it. That's why the school bully in Polytechnic, the Chinese Indonesian guy, got away with all the bullying in school. That's the reason why the Malay friend in Polytechnic got away with all the things she did, because she know I won't do it to her. She know I wouldn't tell anybody, because I was at certain point. Whatever you tell me, I will not tell anyone, and that was a mistake. Because they know I can tell her anything, I can get away with anything. She was gonna keep quiet. So that is a toxic trait of mine. And then when you start speaking up, they will try to hammer you down and gaslight you into saying you're wrong, you're toxic for reacting the way, from the harassment, from the abuse, from the gaslighting, from the manipulation. Sometimes you're at fault, but sometimes you're manipulated. Okay, so trust your intuition and be careful who you are surrounding yourself with. Okay, diversify your network, your social circle, because when you tend to mix with people who are only conservative, people who are only religious, people who are only from certain culture, certain race, certain economic background, certain school, you live in a bubble and you become like-minded in not a good way. So have strong boundaries, and it's something I'm still learning. And leave. If the environment is not good, if the people is not good, just leave. That's the best solution. Okay, thank you for watching and listening.